Big meat eater, turned vegan 9 years ago because of climate. Now I kept on being a vegan because of animals, the individuals. I've done a lot of different things, started the vegan party in Denmark. I've done Anonymous for the Voiceless. And latest, my girlfriend and I, we call it a small organization, but basically it's just the two of us. And is it an organization if you just live with the people you work with? I don't know. So basically we run this Facebook page called The Forgotten Danish, De Glemte Danske. And the reason the reason for the name is it started because we were going with Sea Shepherd to Faroe Islands to put light on the killing of dolphins and whales. And we missed the ferry going there. So then I had this faint memory of there might actually be one fox fur farm left in Denmark. And it was quite close to where the ferry was supposed to take us. And the next ferry was in 3 days. So I said, you know what, now we're here. Why don't we just go check out this fox farm? And we did. Nobody was there except for 3,000 foxes. So we knocked on the door and it was open. So we entered and took some videos and photos. We went to the Faroe Islands, came back and did it again, expecting this time there would be somebody. Nobody was there. And then we sat on this material for a couple of months thinking like, what are we going to use it for? Because it's like nobody knows that there is still one fox farm left. Fox farming was banned in 2013 and we were here talking 2020. But of course, when you ban something in the animal industry, you have to have a very long phase-out period because otherwise it would be expropriation and that's against human rights and blah, 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 all that stuff. Anyways, short story, we made a campaign and we thought, all right, everybody's forgotten about the Danish foxes, so we'll call it the Forgotten Danish Foxes. A month later, the farm was closed. Yay! And we actually managed to save 24 of the foxes out of the farm. The rest was either killed or sent to China, which is not a good ending of the story. But anyways, then we had this page that had 10,000 followers. And we agreed that we could use it for other things. So then we used it for chinchilla farms, and then chicken, and then fox, the ducks that you see now, and a couple of other projects. But Forgotten Danish Foxes didn't work for everything, so we just removed the foxes. So now it's the Forgotten Danish. That was a long story. Last year, together with some activists, we decided to investigate what happens if you look into the best of animal agriculture. So we decided to have a look at organic duck farming. Now, duck farming is a big thing in Denmark because we have a thing called Mortens Aften, which is the evening of Morten, a name. And we also have Christmas Eve. And those 2 days, we eat a lot of ducks. So traditional Christmas dinner is a pig roast and a duck. So we wanted to look at how do we produce these ducks in the most humane, perfect way in Denmark, and what does it look like? Now there was a farm in Zealand, which is the island where Copenhagen is. So it was close, and I think that's why it was chosen. Somebody went there and put up some cameras, and then we could see what was going on in the farm. So why investigate a organic, free-range, humane duck farm? We visited the website, and as you see on the picture here, the depiction of the duck is like it's very open range, it's grassland, it's sunny, and these few ducks are just having such a great time. Another picture with the two ducks, they're almost like falling in love. It's so natural and nice. And even the owner, as you see here, he's holding one of the ducks and he's just treating them with so much respect and love. And then suddenly you see this picture of a body of a dead duck, You still have the image of nature in the background. You even have this cuddly teddy duck, and then you have the dead body of a duck in front of it. So it's like you're coerced into, like, it's very naturist, it's very picturesque, and then you have this dead body that you can eat with no like connection in between. And you also see here in like sales papers and in supermarkets where these ducks are also sold. So let me just tell. So this duck farm has, I believe it's 30,000 ducks. They have their own slaughterhouse on premise, and they sell from this slaughterhouse, and they also sell to local supermarkets and other like local farm stores. So it's very nice, all of it. And as you see, it has all the marks. It's Danish, which is of course a good brand to have, because we all know that Denmark has the best animal welfare in the world, just so you know. It has the organic label, which is also like, then animal welfare is of course perfect. This one was not approved by the Dyrenes Beskyttelse, the Animal Protection Agency in Denmark, but they actually had an article on their website saying how well these animals lived because they had access to water and etc. Anyways, so I think for most consumers, they see these images and they see just how well the ducks are in the summertime. And they see the dead body of the duck, and it's a very nice product. We all know it tastes great. Well, some of us do at least. And they don't think about what's in between. So how does a duck go from living out there in the field, having such a great time, and then ending up wrapped in plastic, ready for you to put in the oven? And I think most consumers, me also, I used to either just ignore it, or there was just some kind of magic going on. You know, from a live animal having a great time to a dead body in a plastic bag, there was just this magic in between. And we really wanted to like reveal what this magic what really was. We wanted it to be new video material. And why do we want it to be new video material? What is one of the obstacles we always meet when we talk to people and show them stuff? They say that it's not like that anymore. It's old footage. They don't do it like this anymore. Another thing, we wanted it to be from Denmark because it's not from Denmark. Oh, it's not from here. We don't do it like that. Oh, this is from another country where they have really poor animal welfare, like Sweden or somewhere else. So that was the first thing. We needed to be new and fresh, and we needed to be, well, not local, but at least from the country that we ran the campaign in. Secondly, it was, so we were a small group doing the investigation, but the campaign was run by me and my girlfriend Valentina. So 2 people, a country of 5.7 million people. How do we reach all of them? Well, we'll do it online. We can't really just go out on the street and meet 5 million people. So that was one of the criteria. How do we produce the videos from the slaughterhouse? Well, we didn't phone and ask if they just wanted to let us in. So we used these cameras here. They're called mate cams. It's like a matchbox size camera with a lens cable that you can then attach somewhere. And here you have a guy standing on a ladder and installing one of the cameras. It's not from this slaughterhouse. This is another campaign. And when it's installed, you see this is like a metal beam like this, and you see the camera lens just peeking underneath. And when you stand on the ground, like 4 meters down, this is what you see. So it's a tiny black dot, and this has actually been lighted from underneath because we're taking an image. But in the ceiling of a slaughterhouse, there are very bright lights. So nobody looks up there. It's very annoying for your eyes. So it doesn't really matter if you can see this pea-sized lens, you wouldn't even look up there. So quite simple to do. As I mentioned, it was an online campaign. we decided for it to be informational. Now, what does that mean? So I've done a lot of vegan activism, and I've done either informational campaigns or judgmental campaigns. So what do I mean by judgmental campaigns? So for example, standing with signs saying meat is murder, or this is what happens when you buy this product, or something like that. I would call that a judgmental campaign. And don't put any negative connotations into judgmental, but it's like you meet somebody and you want to tell them this is wrong. Okay? You only have one try. This person walks by and you can hit them with one message. So I think judgmental campaigns are very good for that. You tell them this is wrong. And the reason why I said don't put any negativity into it, some of us has heard or learned that we should always be like greeting and be nice and everything. I don't think so. Because if it was somebody hitting a dog, we wouldn't say, oh, can you please think about phasing out your hurting of this dog over a couple of years? We wouldn't do that. If we was hurting a kid, we wouldn't do that. We would say, stop it right now, you're hurting somebody. Now, this campaign was a Christmas campaign. I don't know if you have it here in Sweden, but in Denmark we have these Christmas calendars with 24 small doors, and you open one each day, and it's very nice and cozy. So we wanted this online campaign to be the same. So 24 small doors on Facebook that people would then go there and see every day what was the update. Because of this, we couldn't do like a judgmental campaign. We couldn't say this is you buying this duck and that's why it's suffering, because then they wouldn't come back the next day. We needed people to get a piece of information and be interested in, oh shit, what's coming tomorrow? So we wanted people to follow the page. And that's why I say informational. It's like, put the information out there, but don't put any like metadata onto it. So it's just like, this is what happened to this duck. Not like because you are buying it or because the industry is bad or anything. Just this is what happened. That's it. Make people realize themselves what they can use this information for. So the hope was basically that we would kick somebody into an animal-friendly journey. And if they would all sit at the Christmas table looking at this duck and going like, oh, I don't really want to eat it, that would be great. If we could have somebody say, why didn't we buy mock duck instead? That would be even better. So, of course, producing a lot of vegans was the ultimate goal, but it wasn't like it wasn't the intent. It was just, let's show what is really going on. So also we wanted to go for the industry, not the individual. And why is that? Well, another excuse that we often see is if you can point your finger at somebody or something that is bad, then you can continue your own practice, whether it's good or bad, as long as you can point to somebody else. So we really did not want to disclose the name of this slaughterhouse and this production facility, because then people would just look at their own duck in the freezer and say, oh, I bought it in a different place, which is of course very nice. So yeah, we basically just tried to hide the name in any way that we could, or let me say it in a different way. We never told where it was. For two reasons. First one was not to make people avoid the topic because they bought it in a different place, but also security for the slaughterhouse and the duck farm owners. You never know. It only takes one crazy guy or girl to do some harm to these people. So what is the status in Denmark with duck farms? Here you have a map with all the duck farms in Denmark. Of course, a lot of them are smaller. So if we filtered for more than 1,000 ducks, we have 46,900 ducks at any time at these farms that you see here on the map. And those with the little red symbol, they're organic and free range and fantastic. Now, only a few of them have their own slaughterhouses, so many of them are transported from the farms to another farm where there is a slaughterhouse. So what did we see? First of all, we saw that the ducks were put in small cages during the day. Then they were kept in these cages overnight and they were slaughtered the next day. When they were finished slaughtering the first batch, then they went out into the field and caught the other ducks and put them in these cages. So we saw the first ducks were put in cages at around noon, so 12 o'clock during the day. And they were put at the back of this small shed. When they started slaughtering, they slaughtered from the front. So actually the ducks in the back were slaughtered around 12 the next day. So they were stuck in these small cages, as you see here, for 24 hours. Now these cages, I've seen them in pictures from like China and, you know, Asia, where they stuff a lot of animals into these cages and ride around on scooters. And it's horrible. I never thought we would see something like that in Denmark. So they were in these cages without access to water, without access to food, and of course they were shitting on themselves and each other. So very, very poor conditions for these ducks. So they were not, of course, they were not as cramped as you see in these Asian cages, but you know, it was still horrible. Anyways, then we saw them taking these cages, and when you look at the picture on the left, you can see there is movement, and this guy is actually picking up the first cage, which is around 1.7 meters in height, and instead of taking it and using his body to lower it, he's just sliding it off and letting it go. So the ducks fall from 1.5 meters and slams onto the floor. And you can hear them screaming, and it's very, very terrible. So in this picture, you can see the guy standing like next to the wall like this. And if you look really close, you can see under his foot there is a duck. So what happens is they bring these cages into the slaughterhouse, they open it, and they take out one duck and they stun it. But then the next duck flies out and it runs around, and to catch it, well, this guy, he just steps on them and takes them and stuns them. So really horrific animal abuse in the slaughterhouse. Another picture on the left, you see at the top there is this stun machine where it's like a V shape on the wall, and they take the duck's head and put it into the V shape so it gets stuck. And there are electrodes on both sides, so it gets electricity through its head. And that's how it gets stunned. But we saw a lot of times the ducks then were left on a table because there wasn't enough hooks in the ceiling. So they would stun it, put it on a hook on its feet, and then cut its throat. But when all the hooks were busy, they would just stun him and leave it on a table. And we would see, like after a minute, the ducks would then wake up and start to flutter. And as you see on the right picture, there is a duck on the floor, and that has actually woken up from stunning and fallen. Then they would just catch it and hang it onto the hooks and then slit its throat while it was awake. So a lot of occurrences of that as well. We also got access to the sick bay. There were a couple of hundred ducks inside that. It was really filthy, it was really smelly, and we just saw these ducks laying around and showing weird symptoms. I believe this is some kind of a vitamin deficiency symptom, where the ducks then curl up their neck, and it was really like a horror house. So some of the comments of the campaign. So the first one from Tom says, "Oh, we don't make any more Danish ducks. We all get them from abroad. This is some bullshit to show." Well, that's a tough one. How do we prove that it's Danish without actually telling where the farm is? I'll get back to that. And the next one says, "Oh, stop, this is not from Denmark. Why are you lying about it?" And the last one says, "Are there any documentation that this is recorded in Denmark?" Now, luckily, they actually posted this to what we call the Facebook police. So we have this small company called Check Det, which means check it out or fact check it. And they approached us and said, We are receiving a lot of complaints from people on Facebook saying that you're lying in your campaign. So then luckily we had this video, and it was just a final thought. Let's do a video where we film ourselves and the place and a mobile phone with a GPS. Just, you know, if somebody asks where it is. So this is the video. You can see the cages. And then we open the door. Oh no, somebody opens the door. And just takes a peek inside. You can't see much. You can see the hooks in the ceiling. And here you see the stun apparatus, the sort of V-shaped thing on the wall. And a little bit of more slaughterhouse equipment. And they leave again. So we wanted it to be one long shot, so you could see there is no editing. And then we have the phone, you see the date. You hear the ducks in the background. And you see the GPS coordinates. So with this video and with metadata on images taken with mobile phones. So usually if you have like a, you know, old school camera, like with a lens and all that stuff, usually it doesn't save the location information. Newer cameras, you can set it up to do it. But mobile phones usually always save the GPS location at the image. So we also took a lot of images with mobile phones, and as you can see at the bottom of the metadata, you can see the GPS location. So we forwarded all this to Checkte, and we got this article out that says, can it really be in Denmark? Yes, rough videos of Christmas ducks has been recorded on a Danish free-range farm. Yes, finally. So of course we shared it in the campaign, and we saw fewer of the comments that says this is not from Denmark. And when we saw them, we could just post this article, and people would mostly shut up. You know, people are not just like, oh, it's one article. Yeah, that article is fake as well. But you know, you cannot win everybody. We also tried to approach media, and this was the general reply that we got. So this guy from the organic union media, he said, oh, can I reach out to the farm owner and have an interview with him? Because that's generally how media works. They need to have both sides of a story. And we were like, but then you'll tell everybody where it is, and then the whole campaign sort of falls to the floor. So we were like, nah, we won't tell you where it is. And they were like, okay, then we won't run the story. And all right, that's just the way media works. What was the cost of running a campaign like this, you might say? Well, we had a budget of, well, of course, there was driving there and using some equipment that was already purchased. I haven't factored that in. But we did a lot of advertising on Facebook, because when you have something negative to show, usually the algorithms will say, nah, we won't show it to anybody because they don't like to see it. So you have to post money into Facebook ads to push it out to people. And our spending during the entire campaign was 9,402 crowns. And that was all fundraised during the campaign. So we would have the main campaign page, and then on our personal profiles, we would say, oh, we're running these campaigns. Can you please send us money so we can get it out as broadly as possible? And through the vegan network, we got this amount of money. Now, what do you get from, oh yeah, and then approximately 500 hours of work during getting all the videos and running the campaign. And of course, 500 hours are not cheap, but if you don't have anything better to do, then it's basically for free. What was the impact? This is the Facebook statistics. As you can see, we reached 250,000 people during these 24 days. So I think that's a fairly good reach for a small campaign with a budget of around 10,000 crowns. Did we make 250,000 people not buy their Christmas duck? I don't know. But if 5,000, 10,000 didn't, then it was a great contribution. Yeah, so as you see, we posted 22 photos. The campaign started on December 1st, and we really wanted to relax a little bit. So the 23rd and the 24th, we didn't post anything but a video that would just end the campaign. So a video looking back at the entire campaign, showing all the footage and like a summary. So mostly photo posts, some reels. Reels are videos in high format, and then a few videos in broad format that were like longer running. How is the reach? As you see, the reels really work on Facebook. So the reels have the most reach for some reason. But in terms of engagement, you see it's the photos, the usual Facebook posts. They get the most engagements with likes and comments. One thing, if you ever want to do something like this, in order to get reach and reactions, you need somebody to reply to every comment on Facebook. You can't just put something out there and leave it, and a few people will comment and you'll just look at it and say, that's fine. You have to reply to every comment. Keep the commentary going all the time. And for some reason, I'm really bad at it, but Valentina is really great at it. She wakes up and just like a smoker, instead of taking a cigarette, she would take her phone and then start talking to people. And it was the last thing she did when she went to bed. So it was, I don't know, 16 hours every day. She would just be in the commentary, working with people and, talking. 82 days of the video was viewed, and that translates into almost 120,000 minutes. So people really watched those videos over and over again, and they were shared, and some of them went like almost viral with more than 10,000 views. So really we had a great reach there. Of course, the other activists couldn't help to join us. We ran the online campaign, but they started to do small demos. So we had a demo in Copenhagen, one in Aarhus, and one in Aalborg, which are the 3 largest cities in Denmark. And it was with the signs and screens, and you see 2 of the brave activists here. The sign says, reveal, this is how your Christmas duck is produced. And then they showed some of the videos on the screen there. And we also had great feedback from the streets, people crying, people turning, like at least they said they were never going to eat Christmas duck again, and great. But what about the Facebook page in itself? Of course we had the trolls. So this guy is saying, yes, then I can finally get my Christmas duck. This one says, refuse to believe that there are Danish slaughterhouses where you're slaughtering in sandals. It's this whole thing smells a little bit like fish. And it's like, nobody's wearing sandals, they're wearing rubber boots. And this guy is saying, oh, I'm getting all hungry, now I'll go make some food. I really feel like duck now. But we also had the more positive. Me as a consumer, I have the right to know who to avoid. To me, it looks like you're on the producer's side and not the consumer's side. So that was one of the tricky ones, where they said, because you're not telling me what specific duck to avoid, you're actually working in favor of the industry. I'm having a hard time seeing that connection, but you can hear the frustration there, right? Tell me what is the solution? And we, as I said, we wanted to provide information, not a solution. So go figure out the solution yourself. But we had a lot of people turning angry at us because we were not telling the complete picture and the solution as well. This one is saying, what the F are you talking about? It's very normal. It's food on the table. The last 7,000 years we've eaten duck and meat. Are you coming and are you going to, forbyde? To ban. Are you going to ban food? It's like, again, we're not providing the solution. So in their head, it's just like, can't I eat anything anymore? Oh yeah, and this one. So this guy, he was looking at one of the slaughterhouse workers. We have one shot from the outside where they're standing and talking. And one guy is coming out with a duck and putting it into a cage. And he's standing there with a pack of cigarettes. So this guy was actually looking so much at the videos that he noticed that the pack of cigarettes was blue. And we don't have any blue cigarette labels in Denmark. This guy is probably from Poland or Ukraine or something. But anyways, he was like, oh, it's all fake because the cigarette package is not from Denmark. But then, of course, we had the very positive ones. So this woman here, she's tagging the Animal Protection Agency and she's saying, what is going on? I thought that I did just a little different by paying double for organic meat. I feel like a laughingstock. It makes me infuriated. I've been preaching animal welfare for everybody around me, hoping that they would choose animal welfare as well. This is so absurd. So this is one of the really, to me at least, very positive comments. It's like somebody that has the veil of the animal welfare, the organic, it's removed and now this person is seeing it how it really is. Now, of course, we don't know the action that this person will take. Hopefully, they will stop eating animal products over time. The next one here. I simply cannot stand to see what you're showing. I will never eat duck again. I'm getting sick just by thinking that as a consumer, you might be naive. You think that free range and organic also means good living conditions for the animals. This is insane that this can be going on. Yuck. This is so cruel and evil. Never more duck or pig. I think that's what the person writes. I'm really, really shaken. You should become a vegetarian. Yes. I'm never gonna buy duck again. No thank you to animal abuse. So thousands of these comments. I could show all of them and it would take hours, but we really, really had a lot of people saying, yeah, I'm not gonna support this anymore. So that was great. And that was the end of the Christmas duck campaign. Just to let you know, we ran another campaign this year. Same recipe, different slaughterhouse. This time it was small, organic, free-range cows, pigs, and sheep. And what was going on in there, you can see on our Facebook page that you can see here. It's called The Forgotten Danish. Go and have a look to be inspired on how to run one of these campaigns. If you only want to watch 2 videos or share 2 videos, we have the video from last year where we summarized the duck campaign, and we also did a video from this year where we summarized the ordinary slaughterhouse campaign. So that's one way of doing it. I encourage you to try, and if you need any details, technical or anything, please approach me. But thank you for listening.